the President of the United States.
Please sit down. Well, welcome again to the 9th Summit of the Americas. A lot of hard work has gone into this summit and a lot of strong and constructive diplomacy so far, I believe. We brought together diverse voices and stakeholders and development and ambition agenda for action to address the issues that matter most to the future of our region. And they're not all the same concerns in one sense, and in another sense, they're all incredibly intertwined. I'm incredibly honored to be hosting all of you here in Los Angeles. My administration and the proposals that we're eager to discuss with you, we want to begin to talk about today. Proposals that I think are a far cry from what we saw from a previous American administration. But equally important, we, the Vice President and I, we want to listen. Hear all of you, what you think we should be doing. In the next few days, we have an opportunity to find ways we can do better for all of our people by working together. And I emphasize together, together. That's what our people expect of us. And it's our duty to show them the power of democracies to deliver when democracies work together. The United States stands ready to work in partnership with all of you, governments, institutions, civil societies, young leaders of tomorrow. And I invite my fellow heads of state and heads of government of the Americas to join me in adopting concrete hemispheric commitments that are going to advance our efforts to build a more sustainable, resilient, and equitable future. With our action plan on health and resilience, we're going to help our region recover from COVID-19 while strengthening health systems and improving our ability to respond to future health emergencies by investing in health workers. The new America's Health Corps will train 500,000 public health and medical professionals in the region over the next 5 years. The United States is going to fund this together with the Pan American Health Organization. So when the next pandemic hits, which it will, we'll be ready and trained with healthcare workers to administer the vaccines and the needed care, which we don't have now. And it won't cost your countries anything. Through our efforts to strengthen clean energy economy in the Americas, we're committing to not just to energy transition, but to make communities that have been historically marginalized are able to share equally in the gains. With equitable access to both good-paying jobs, we'll create and the affordable clean energy that will be made available. I'm going to continue to work, just as I did when I was Vice President with Barack Obama, to promote trade and investment in clean energy, including using the United States International Development Finance Corporation to help countries that need assistance to assess financing and to help the region reach ambitious renewable energy goals by 2030. By adopting the Inter-American Action Plan on Democratic Governance, we're going to commit our nations to making real the promise of the Inter-American Democratic Charter. And sometimes we forget what it says. It says inclusive democratic governance, transparency and accountability, protections for human rights of all people, respect for the rule of law. And on all these issues and more, the United States is making a critical commitment to demonstrate our enduring investment in our shared future and to address our shared concerns, because they are shared. Last night, I announced the America's Partnership Economic Prosperity Plan to drive equitable economic recovery and invest in working families throughout the hemisphere. Today, I rolled out a new partnership in collaboration with the Caribbean countries to address climate change. I just spent a little time with the Caribbean leaders. We have to go back and do a lot more, hear directly about their concerns, and discuss all the ways we can move together. As they pointed out to me just an hour ago, with a sense of urgency, not years, not months, but soon, soon. We're making good on our commitment to vaccinate the Americas against COVID-19, giving more than 65 million doses that we've already donated to the region. Over the next few days, we're also announcing more than $645 million in a new life-saving assistance to address food insecurity in the region and increase the ability to respond to disasters as well as historic refugee and migration flows. Each one of our countries have been impacted by unprecedented migration, and I believe it's our shared responsibility to meet this challenge, and I emphasize shared. Tomorrow, a number of us will join in announcing the Los Angeles Declaration on Migration and Protection. This will bring our nations together around a transformative new approach to invest in the region and solutions that embrace stability, to increase opportunities for safe and orderly migration, to crack down on criminals and human traffickers who prey on desperate people, and coordinate specific concrete actions to secure our borders and resolve the shared challenges. And tomorrow, I'll be speaking more to this and laying out our commitments. The bottom line is this: the Western Hemisphere is home for all of us. Back in 2013, when I was Vice President to Barack Obama, he asked me to lead our engagement with the region. And I said we should be talking about the hemisphere. And I made a speech back then saying the hemisphere, we should look at it as a middle-class, secure, democratic hemisphere from Canada to Chile and everywhere in between. Over the past decade, our region has changed. Challenges we faced have changed. And so our policies and our solutions have to change as well. But I want to be very clear. My fundamental view and my approach to the hemisphere has not changed. I still believe what I said then, and I hope that you do too. There is no reason why the Western Hemisphere can't be the most forward-looking, most democratic, most prosperous, most peaceful, secure region in the world. We have unlimited potential. We have enormous resources and democratic spirit that stands for freedom and opportunity for everybody. And no matter what else is happening in the world, the Americas will always be the priority for the United States of America. So thank you again for being part of this summit. We have a busy few days and incredible opportunities ahead of us. So let's get to work. And I'm supposed to hush up and sit down, and we're going to have a conversation. Is that right?
Yes, Mr. President. Good afternoon. The chair recognizes Ms. Cecilia Vilches Gonzalez, Youth Participation Component Coordinator of the Young Americas Forum.
Muy buenas tardes.
Good afternoon, everyone. Excellencies, heads of state and government. My name is Cecilia Vilches. I'm Mexican. I'm the youngest of 13 children. And today is a great honor for me to represent youth in the Americas.
This is about youth.
The Youth Forum of the Americas is the forum that allows us as young people to reach these spaces, is an ongoing process of engagement with youth of OAS member states, monitoring actions and defining priorities that are relevant to young people. It is a great honor for me to represent young people here and to bring the voices of over 27,000 young people from each of the OAS member states. Considering the last Summit of the Americas and the commitments made by young people and understanding the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, this led to a reshuffling of priorities in society. Since YABT, the organization that incorporates the Forum of the Americas, this led to the 6th Youth Forum as an official forum for the 9th Summit of the Americas. There has been a combination of conversations on follow-up and establishing priorities through a process of consultation. We believe that an ecosystem of development for youth that helps strengthen democratic governance and putting forward an inter-American agenda. That is why, through the 6th Forum, we promoted dialogue, participation, informed recommendations from experts, and a call to innovative entrepreneurship for young people around several major themes: climate change, working with young people, the fight against corruption, connectivity, and digital transformation, as well as COVID-19. These main areas show the evolution of the priorities of young people that we bring to the table. The current engagement process began just after the last summit in Lima, Peru, held in 2018. Since then, contributions, proposals, opinions, and recommendations, actions have been put together from over 27,000 young people all over the continent, throughout the entire continent, as a response to the commitments made at the 9th for the 9th summit. The Youth Forum of the Americas has found an opportunity to provide tools to young people who, just as I do, aspire to continue growing professionally. We want to change our lives, not only for ourselves, but for other people who need us in order to find their way. The result of this was the creation of the 5 thematic areas that I've mentioned. Throughout this process from the Youth Forum of the Americas, we have brought a statement of commitment and a plan of action created by young people based on our opinions and our recommendations. This is follow-up of a strong consultation process directed at youth in the entire continent, with the support of over 400 young people's networks who work daily through dialogue, consultation, different actions, and mechanisms. Our goal is to make sure that the voices of young people throughout the continent are heard in different contexts, in different countries, and we want to make sure that there's ethnic, geographic, and gender representation. In order to achieve inclusive representative participation, we've worked with local, international organizations and governance. There have been over 160 dialogues from 2019 to date. Over 14,000 young people have been involved through this specific channel, and currently we continue to support young people and have created fora for local and regional dialogue. On May 16th, we held a hemispheric dialogue. 45 networks of young people throughout the continent created a statement of commitment and an action plan where we presented the opinions of each representative and the experience and actions that we have experienced as young people. We also are promoting the program for talent and skills in the Americas in the area of information technology, involving over 14,000 young people from OAS member states. Likewise, we are grateful for the interest shown by the government of Colombia, Panama, Peru, the United States, and the OAS, specifically the Secretary General and the Joint Assistant Secretary General, who have been a part of this process from the beginning. They have shown a commitment, support, and they worked closely with the young people from the 6th Forum of the Americas. Now, results to date from the 6th Forum specifically are in the area of the C's. First, climate change, responding to a political commitment for a green future and a clean energy. We call upon governments and businesses to incentivize more sustainable transportation models and creating projects for cities that allow for strengthening mobility for pedestrians, and especially protecting the environment, for the environment and the health of our populations. We want to strengthen the water supply of our cities via reforestation. We ask governments to incentivize research and development and use new energies in the region in order to lead to investment and the use of these technologies in a more inclusive fashion, investing in mechanisms for implementing renewable energies in industries and implementation mechanisms for small and medium-sized enterprises. As young people, we commit to work on initiatives that allow access from all sectors to these technologies, including access to biofuels. Now, within the second area, which we have been discussing throughout this process of consultation, the fight against corruption is a response to the political commitment of democratic governance for the 9th Summit. We understand that multilateralism is a tool for cooperation. Political, economic partnerships can be made with the hemisphere, and based on this, then, as young people, we suggest creating policies for young people that allow us to talk about issues that are of interest of us, such as immigration, trade, and innovation. One of our greatest challenges is making sure we can guarantee survival in several areas, such as education. We must provide alternatives and safety and access to basic rights for young people and for all of society. Now, within the third C, connectivity and digital transformation, we urge governments to ensure that our region has access to high-level technology in every area of society. This includes digital education for indigenous peoples and vulnerable populations. We must promote, establish, and regulate labor policies, and we must strengthen human capital. The C that represents COVID-19, the political commitment of health and resilience. We must show the impact of the pandemic when it comes to gender, school dropout rates, a lack of access to health services, the cultural burden of domestic work and caretaking. These have meant that women are at greater risk for violence, women, young women, and girls. Therefore, we think we must reinforce social protection mechanisms for all people. In the area of human mobility, we need work, employment, insertion programs, and we must make the most of the skills of our entire population. As a response to the impact of the pandemic in more vulnerable populations, we wish to promote economic models that are inclusive with a focus on collaboration and with a gender perspective. These are some of the contributions we've identified as young people, and we continue to search for ways to implement things and to work together with each one of the organizations present here today in order to make this possible. We will also present the entire declaration to the Secretariat of the Summit of the Americas so that it may be circulated to all of you so that you may use it as a foundation for developing public policies and to establish priorities and mandates that we have as a region. We thank you very much for your support, and we thank you for this space as young people. We believe that as young people, we must be partners for prosperity. Thank you very much.
The chair recognizes the Honorable John Bresenio, Prime Minister of Belize.
His Excellency Joseph Biden, President of the United States of America, and Madam Vice President Harris, heads of state and government, distinguished representatives, ladies and gentlemen. We have gathered in the City of Angels, the American city that most reflects the best and worst of the Americas. A city that is home to millions of citizens from every country in the Western Hemisphere. A melting pot, a melange, un crisol de culturas. A city in which too many have too much and too many have too little. A mirror of the Americas in 2022. Los Angeles, a beautiful city endowed with abundant riches, where ambition, coupled with hard work, makes real the promise of the American dream, that a decent living is possible for the majority. My friends, we have come to this blessed place to refresh our